Welcome to Guided by Third Wheel, the podcast. My name is Amber Ireland, and I'm here with my co-host, Jill Bucaro. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Guided by Third Wheel. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We'll see if this makes it to the podcast. Amber is doing my yearly reading for me. So Amber has available for purchase on our website tarot card readings, tarot and oracle card. Right. Typically you do a mix, and is doing a special kind of year look, would you say?
Right. Yep.
Type of reading. And I get this from Amber every single year. So she's going to do mine, and we thought we'd record it just to give people some insight into what a reading looks like. And if you just really want all the nitty-gritty details of the shit I'm struggling with and hoping for and looking forward to in 2025, here you go. So let's get started.
All right. Well, let's take a deep breath together, Jill. And release. And we'll set the intention that you'll receive exactly what you need from this card reading today, as we invite all of your guides and your ancestors into this space and your higher self to provide the wisdom that you need moving forward this year and to reflect on the past year. All right, let's get started. I'm doing the readings a little bit different, and we did a little bit of this work before we started the podcast. But this year what I'm doing is I'm using the numerology of people's birth dates in order to get their archetype, and then using the years that we are coming out of and the years we're going into to look at how that archetype plays into those years using the tarot. So for Jill, her archetype is actually a number 4, and the number 4 is the Emperor. And so when we look at the Emperor in the tarot, we look at somebody who has a lot of stability. The Emperor generally is the culmination of all of the kings within the tarot deck. When we're looking at the Emperor, we're looking at harmony, we're looking at confidence, we're looking at providing stability in their life. We can also look at the converse of that, right?
Sure.
When you are an archetype, it does not mean you're always showing up in your best self, right? And so sometimes that archetype can be very rigid, can be very my way or the highway type of a thing. You will follow what I'm saying to do. That's just an overview of the Emperor. And so in 2024, that year for you was the world year. And what we found out at the beginning when we were running the numerology is that Jill and I actually run on the same years. So I came out of a world year in 2024 and I'm moving into an Emperor year of 2025, but my archetype is different. So the world year just basically means we have come to the end of a cycle for you. And so it's the Emperor playing into the world. It could be a cycle of maybe thoughts, feelings, maybe the end of a certain path that you were on came to a culmination and we're starting again in 2025. Generally, the world means we have tied it up in a nice bow.
Okay.
It is done. We feel good about it. We have reached all that we could reach for that thing. And now we're moving on.
Interesting.
Also, the world can mean, too, it is still that tying up in a bow, but maybe it's not a physical thing. Maybe it is more around, I've done a lot of work on myself, and I finally put something to bed. It is finally done. I am leaving it behind, and I'm moving into this new space where I'm not carrying this with me anymore.
Okay.
And then when we're moving into 2025, you're moving into an Emperor year like I am. But for you, this is going to feel like it's going to be like a double stable year because you are the Emperor. You're the archetype that is showing up in your own year. And so you have a lot of ability right now to create that stability and to be courageous and to have that confidence in what you do all year long.
Interesting.
Right? And so what that says to me is that it's kind of a mirror. You're going to find the things that you're interacting with are stable and you are also stable, right? So it's just kind of like making the things that you're doing feel more strong and grounded.
Interesting.
However, looking at the other side of that, being careful that it's not becoming so rigid for you that you can't have any flexibility in what you're doing. Getting kind of stuck almost in that confident, stable place, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, because I know for me, I find a lot of comfort in routine and rules and things like that. And I find sometimes that I can get stuck. I can be so focused on, no, this is the schedule, these are the to-dos, these are the things that I want to do, that I lose some of that flexibility. And I also wondered, when you were talking, if conversely, if like the scary part of the Emperor is also possible, like that I could be like creator kind of like rigidity and rules and see that reflected around me as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Emperor, obviously, masculine energy, the doing energy. So I feel like for this year for you, there is going to be a lot of doing, which I know for you feels comfortable, right?
Yeah.
That doing piece does. And I know that you have been working on a lot of letting go of the doing. So coming out of the world into this doing, making sure that we're remembering what we learned by releasing to not overdo.
Right. Or how to do differently almost.
Right.
And not fall back in that rigidity.
Yeah. Not get so deep in the masculine that we lose all of our feminine.
Yeah.
Right. To be able to have that balance. Especially, you're going to have to learn it because what's around you is going to be masculine energy.
Sure.
So how do I play in that and use that to my advantage without going overboard and abandoning everything else that I've learned as I'm coming out of this world year?
Yes.
That makes sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
All right. So let's start pulling some cards here. So what we'll start with is a card that represents what we came out of in 2024. And we've already talked a little bit about that just by the archetypes and the years and where we are now and what we could be looking at in 2025. Nope, that's too many cards.
So it's where we came from in 2024, where we're at right in this moment, and what we could potentially be looking ahead at.
Yep. All right. So where did we come from? Five of Swords energy. So Five of Swords is change. Five of Swords is changing how we're thinking.
Yep.
Sometimes Five of Swords, we're changing what we're thinking. In the card, the guy is holding his head like he has a headache. He's thinking and thinking. And I'm trying to change what I'm thinking. There's a lot of change going on and I can't really pull it together. So that is the energy that we're coming out of in 2024. As we're wrapping that up, as we're moving through, we are not so stuck in our thoughts and we're able to move through change without getting stuck in that thought loop around what is happening right now. And I think of the Five of Swords too as always thinking through worst case scenario more so than anything.
Like a negative thought.
Yeah, just that negative thought loop because change is happening, right? So coming out of that and where we are now is the Seven of Pentacles energy, which Seven of Pentacles is really about growing things. You've already planted seeds and you're just really looking at them. You're like, I am putting my energy here, which comes a lot with that Emperor energy where I am really focused on making sure that this grows. And in the card, there is a man and you can see he's growing a tree with his hand almost, like he's putting the light on it from himself and the roots are really strong, but what he can see coming up out of the soil is not as big as what the roots are. So it's that very focused energy to create. And then when we go into 2025, we have the Devil there, which we have pulled the Devil for you a few times.
Lots of
I
times,
think that as I'm looking at this and knowing what the years look like for you, I think that this Devil card represents caution to not allow yourself to be held by what other people want. Don't be the puppet on the strings. Don't be the puppet master too, right? So don't allow people to tie you up into things that you know are not in your highest good. And don't do that to other people. Don't try to be the puppet master and determine how all of the things are going to go. You are the Emperor. You are the stability. You don't have to make someone else stable and nobody else gets to determine that they are your stability.
Yep. Interesting. Oh, that Devil just never goes away.
Yeah, I think it's a good reminder to untie yourself.
Yeah.
Because the Devil, I really think it's never truly external.
No.
It's you. It's what you're allowing to hold you back.
No, you're exactly right. No, to me, the devil, I used to think the devil was like indicative of a person. And I think it was indicative of a person that really brought out some of my more maladaptive behaviors and coping and communication and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
certainly that's not the only person in the only situation that can bring that out.
Right. And when I look at the devil, I think about manipulation a lot. I think about how we try to manipulate others, how we allow other people to manipulate us, how we manipulate ourselves to keep ourselves small, to keep ourselves stuck, to keep ourselves in chains to where we aren't able to do the things that we want to do based on fear, shame, guilt, those types of things. So that's just caution, which makes sense because you are moving into a very masculine year. You're moving into a year that probably is going to feel comfortable to you, but it might feel comfortable in a way that it's like, I could just kind of slide back in to all of these things that I used to do because right now it seems acceptable externally because that's the energy I'm in.
Yes.
But you have to use that discernment to say, I have planted these seeds and I have grown this thing and I have moved through this. Do I really want to step back into this?
No, and it's so interesting because when we did my year last year, you pulled the devil for November. And literally starting in August, I started fretting, right? Because my November and December cards last year were pretty negative, right? We had the devil, and then we had a card that was essentially a lot of, I don't want to say trauma, but just like emotional turmoil, right? Hard change, low spots, things like that. And I think all fall long, and even some in the summer, there were opportunities for me, I would say almost to digress, right? To throw away the work that I did and just fall back into old patterns and old situations that I knew were not serving me. And I spent November anxious, right? That we were going to see whether it was a person or a situation or something reappear. And I think I just held true to the work that I did, and I didn't create space for that.
Right.
And it didn't happen.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have the past, present, future for the year. And then now what we're going to look at, instead of in the years past, I've done readings where I pull for every month of the year. This time we are pulling for seasons of the year. So we're pulling for basically quarters of the year. So the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, and pulling on what that energy could look like and then what our best actions are for that energy. So if we want to look at the beginning of the year, January, February, March. Nope, we can't have 5 cards for January. Feels like
she's got a lot going on.
That's too much energy, but thank you.
There we go.
All right,
there
so we've got that. And then we can look at the best actions. And you're going to have 3. All right, so the energy of the first quarter of the year is the 9 of Wands. With the 9 of Wands, we are looking at finally getting to almost the point of completion with a creative endeavor. And when I look at the 9 of Wands and I think about it, I think about being almost there, but always in the 9 of Wands, there's some kind of weariness there. In these cards, there's not so much of a weariness as there's a very small fence that only comes up to this lady's knees that she is not looking at, but she's standing behind it as if, how am I ever going to move over this fence that I could literally step over?
Got it.
Right? So that feels like that energy of the first quarter of the year where you do have the ability to move forward with those creative endeavors. You have everything you need. You're kind of looking out. You have your light. You have your staff. You're ready to go. You're ready to lay down any burdens that need to be laid down. But there's just like one more step that needs to happen. And so I also see this as like a keep going card. Don't stop here because there is more, and really the barrier between you and the more is not as big as you think it is. And so when we look at the actions here, Jesus. Okay. The actions here, actually, we pulled the Page of Wands, the 4 of Wands, and the 9 of Pentacles. And, the Page of Wands and the 4 of Wands, to me, feel very similar in their energy of just celebration and of being true to who you are and throwing caution to the wind and those types of things. So I think, the best action there is obviously that keep going energy, stay motivated, stay inspired, and celebrate the fact that you've come this far and there is still further to go. And then when we look at the 9 of Pentacles, that really is that I am standing strong in what I have created. And it's a very independent energy. And so I would say what we're looking at for best action here for that first quarter is similar to what I said. Keep going, stay motivated, celebrate what is happening, the small wins, even if you're not there yet, right? And know that you are standing independently in your power here, and that that's going to be fruitful with the Nine of Pentacles here.
Okay, nice.
All right, so then let's look at the second quarter of the year. And that lines up nicely with that Seven of Pentacles energy where you're growing, you're very focused, you're growing things right now. So it looks like in that first quarter of the year, it's just keep going. Keep going and celebrate, stay motivated. Doesn't look like we may hit it by the end because of the Nine of Pentacles, but it doesn't look like that first quarter is where the ending is going to be for what you're growing. Second quarter being the King of Pentacles, so April, May, June. The energy of the King of Pentacles, that plays right into your Emperor energy, right? That's one of the kings. So King of Pentacles being very stable, being very grounded, being very warm and almost advice giving. And so I think when we look at that as time period and what we are experiencing during that time period, I would say this would be a time period of more stability than this pushing. So I feel like now seeing the second quarter, this Nine of Pentacles, we're staying motivated, and probably by the end of that first quarter, we're moving into a place that feels a little bit more stable, a little bit more warm and inviting. And we just recently talked about this, so I want to bring this up, that the being okay to sit in this space for that period of time opposed to needing to go.
Endeavor on a new project.
Right,
or
because
something.
we've been pushing. Like, we look at this first 3 years, we've been pushing.
We've been pushing, and that makes a lot of sense. We're getting ready to start 60 strong. I had an absolutely outrageously busy final quarter of this year. So I mean, I think it would be unrealistic to think that I would be in a space of relaxation before April. Yes, but to embrace it, like you said.
Right. And then when we look at the actions for that second quarter, we pulled the King of Wands. So
all the kings.
Kind of thinking maybe you're going to get all 4 kings for your Emperor year, if not the Emperor as well. But for action, what that tells me is, again, stable, courageous. I just need to be here and be strong and stand in my power.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the vibe I'm getting.
And then we get the World here, which is the year you came out of. So this to me says we are moving into stability, and you can be happy that you're up leveling into that stability. You are leaving that other shit behind. That first part of the year, again, is we push. We don't need to do that anymore. We're here.
Okay.
We're here. We're stable.
Nice.
Right? So I feel like that second quarter may be a little bit of reprieve if you will allow it. Right?
Yeah, that's a big if for me. But exciting to look forward to.
Yep. This is the third quarter of the year here. So July, August, September being the Hangman. And so with the Hangman, as far as an energy for that time period, this would tell me that we've been in this stable space here. We're getting real confident in where we are. We've left some things behind. Things feel very stable. Now we're going into this third quarter, and we may need to shift our perspective a little bit.
Okay.
Being able to look at things differently during that time period. So the Hangman generally is just that card of shifting perspective. Normally, Hangman upside down, being held by one foot, clearly in the cards can get themselves down out of this.
Sure.
But really what is needed at that time is to truly look at things from a different perspective. And that can be physically looking at things. Let me be upside down and look at this. Or mentally just looking at things and exploring more of what is going on around me. It's going to come from this stable place, but it's going to require some flexibility.
Yep.
And then if we look at, there we go. And then if we look at the action to that, we're looking at Temperance. Temperance being a card of balance. And it's more about a card of internal balance than it is necessarily like external balance. So coming into this masculine energy, feeling really good about being here. Now we're having to look at things a little bit differently, and we're having to make sure that we have that internal balance in order to do it, and not being unbalanced. And I see this being unbalanced masculine, feminine energy being, because we're coming out of this being very strong in that masculine energy. Now to switch perspective, I need to get more balanced.
That makes sense.
And the fourth quarter, is the Ace of Wands, which is nice. So in the fourth quarter, we're going to be looking at new ideas that are coming that maybe haven't come to fruition, but do have the ability to spark into something. And so when we look at that for a time period, we're just looking at a time period of new ideas where maybe things aren't moving into fruition yet, but there's a lot of new ideas going. And so I think this is really a time that we're moving out of this masculine energy, shift perspective, get balanced, brings some new ideas.
For sure.
Some new creative ideas for you. And then if we look at the best actions to take, well, it does say it's an 8 of Wands action, and I'm going to take this one too, and a 7 of Cups.
Oh, I get the 7 of Cups card all the time.
So 7 of Cups just means you've got a lot of options.
Yeah.
There are a lot of opportunities, but you don't know how all of them are going to play out, right? Much like the Ace of Wands with the creative new sparks, you don't know how they're all going to play out. Looking at these two cards together, I would say this 7 of Cups means that you're going to have more than one thing that is presented or an opportunity for you. The 8 of Wands tells me that all of this is going to come in very quickly. And what I'm hearing is quickly and a lot. So there are a lot of options that are going to be presented to you during that last quarter, and they're going to come in quickly. But what I will say about that is, actually, let me pull one more card on that. What do we do with this quick energy? What do we do with all of these options?
Do I need to be ready to jump? What do I do?
We have the 5 of Pentacles here. I see this as being overwhelming, as it would be. I mean, I think to anybody to just get a lot of opportunities very quickly.
Yeah.
But with this Ace of Wands energy, I think that there are maybe 1 or 2 of those things that you already know are what you want.
Okay.
And you have the ability to pull yourself out of this 5 of Pentacles and open your own door. As long as you're willing to sit with yourself and say, here are all these opportunities that are here. I know I've had all these new ideas, and then I have these opportunities that have come in very quickly, and it feels fast.
Yeah.
I can sit in the change and wait until I'm ready to unlock the door.
Okay. Do the changes feel to you job related, family life, relationship related? How do they feel? A mix?
This just feels very creative. It could be work. It's creation of something. I'm hearing intangible creation. What I'm seeing is program. I'm seeing program. I'm creating something that we couldn't put it in a box.
Okay.
Right? And there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of people coming to me saying, hey, you want to do this? Hey, you want to do this? Hey, you want to do this? And they're all saying quickly, tell me whether or not you'll do this. So there's an urgency on their end, but on your end, you need to tamper down that urgency and say, I need to sit with this and determine what it is that I have decided that I want to do moving forward. And that's the door I'm going to open. I am not just opening this door to anybody.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I'm not letting people lock me out either, because I have the ability to do any of these things that are being offered to me. I'm going to choose what that looks like.
Okay.
Do you want me to pull anything else on that?
No, I don't think so. It's interesting. It's, when you pulled my cards last year, it was definitely there's going to be a lot of new things happening and new stuff going on in the summertime, right? And that definitely was true. And I would not be lying if I said I was not relieved. And, and I was all really good new stuff. But, you pulled 3 aces in a row for me last year, which was exciting, right? Because I think I was ready for some new and different stuff. But my goodness, was it overwhelming, right? Trying to have all of that new stuff and integrate it in the second half of the year. So I am a bit relieved to see that some of this new, you know what I mean? It looks like we're kind of still wrapping up this process, and that new stuff, will kind of begin more near the end of the year.
Yeah.
That feels nice.
What else do you want me to pull on?
I mean, I'd be curious about a job card, a relationship card.
Okay.
Just a Jill self card.
Nothing on any of these? Do you want to take a picture of this before I pull these up?
No. Yeah, let's take a picture because I want to be able to show people.
All right. So career?
Yeah, let's do career first. I started a new job this year, a new 9 to 5. Third wheel is busy as a little bee right now.
Do you want to pull on both things? Or
I kind of want to do an overall and then maybe pull on both things.
Let's just see what the overall
Let's
energy
see what the overall
now
is
for your career as a whole. looks like. That's the star. So wishes fulfilled, things that you have wished for up until this point. And so that's where we're sitting right now as far as career, just kind of across the board. Things look good, but it also feels like, wow, how did I get here? Look at this. I'm like connected into some kind of miracle that I didn't know was possible.
I mean, I definitely feel like that career-wise. Can we pull any advice, things to keep in mind for the year, career-wise?
Let's look at your best actions for the year. Is the Chariot. Man, these are a lot of majors. Chariot being move forward, keep going with what you're doing, and do that in a balanced way, right? You do have the ability to keep moving forward with these dreams that you have. With this star energy can continue to move forward. What you need to do is make sure that you're balanced in what you're doing, that you're staying very centered in what you're doing, but you do have the ability to move forward.
Okay.
What else?
That feels good for me for career.
Anything else?
We'll pull this one for third wheel, too.
Okay.
Like, as its own thing.
Okay. Well, third wheel, got a Page of Cups. A lot of times when we look at the cups, we're looking at feelings, romantic relationships, things like that. When we look at that for work, though, Page of Cups is really about, it's sort of like the Cups card of the Star card. So it's like kind of when pigs would fly type of energy there of things are coming in that you didn't even think were possible, but they're being brought externally to the business. It's like somebody is coming to court, and in a way that almost feels like, is this real, right? Is this real? Should I be taking this? Am I enough to do this? That type of a thing. And I think, we look at the best course of action there. Is the Eight of Pentacles. So it basically says, Eight of Pentacles is all about learning. Put your head down and get to work and learn. And so I think what that says is someone comes courting with something that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Am I good enough? Is this okay? Is this real? Could I really have this? I think the best, with the action here is absolutely you can have it. Be willing to learn.
Yeah.
Be willing to learn. If you don't think you have the skills right now, be willing to learn. And move forward. That terrifies me. I'm just thinking of all the things that we already know, and I'm like, oh man,
what could it be? Those are good cards though for third wheel.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else business wise? Okay. What else did you want to pull in?
Let's do a relationship.
Okay. And we're looking at romantic partnerships. Okay, let's look at that. So we'll just look at the overall energy. Justice. As we're looking at relationships with the Justice card, to me it seems like there's a balance here, and there is finally like a reckoning of what you thought used to be unfair. There's been some justice to it. It's like these things have been ironed out. You feel justified in what is happening. Almost like, I'm just going to say this, I've been done wrong, and I always knew that it was wrong. And now finally there's some justice to that, because what is happening now shows that that was not
okay.
Right.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just finding that justice in the relationship piece and the way that we think about relation. And I think it's a big deal because it's a major card.
I know. I was going to comment. It's a lot of major cards.
And then I think, we could kind of look at the best course of action there in relationships. It'd be the Queen of Cups, which is nice. And as we were thinking about the fact that, your archetype is the Emperor, you're moving into an Emperor year, I think this is very important to remember that we need to sit in our knowing and in that feminine energy as we're moving forward in relationship. Though, we have a balance between the masculine and the feminine always. I think sometimes when we're in our masculine energy, a lot of times that is around our work. That's around like getting things done and whatnot. And if we get too much into that, we bring it into relationship and we become too much one way or the other, which can disrupt the relationship that we're having because it becomes out of balance.
Yep.
Right? So I think, best course of action here, just remembering to use your intuition, just remembering that feminine energy, just remembering to feel your feelings and engage in feelings, in relationship, opposed to fact.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else there?
I don't think so.
Okay. What else?
I don't know if I have any other questions. Is there anything else you feel like we should ask about? Anything that feels undone or unexamined?
No, I feel like that was pretty comprehensive, but what I can do is we can pull an oracle card.
Okay.
So I've been using a couple different oracle cards for people, but I'm going to use the Soul Coaching oracle card just to get kind of like an overall message, something to think about for at least right now, if not, kind of theme around the year.
Okay.
Just something to consider. And what we have here is freedom as the theme. And the affirmation for this card actually is boundless freedom surges through me. So when we think about freedom, sometimes we think about freedom from something, like now I'm going to be alone, like I'm free and alone. But this to me says that you have a freedom within yourself to explore and make decisions by what we've let go of in the last year, by that ending of the world card, right? And what has gone. There is now more freedom in your life to make the choices that you want to make, to do the things that you want to do, to live more authentically, to feel more grounded in yourself. In the book here, it says, break free, express yourself, and let your spirit fly. Flaunt your stuff, dance, laugh, explore, and go beyond predictable behaviors. Be daring. Fling your arms to the heavens, enjoy. You aren't here to be ordinary, but to step beyond limitations and self-imposed boundaries. So don't allow yourself to be trapped by convention or the expectations of others. You have the ability to choose your life on your terms. Replace the phrase I should with I could, but I choose not to at this time. Perhaps you aren't always free to create the exact circumstances of your life, but you're certainly able to decide what meaning to give to those situations. Select the meaning that empowers you, for this is the time to break free.
I love it. What a nice, I love that.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
It's a nice card coming out of that world's year into the next year. We're breaking free from these old things, breaking free from these limitations, and moving into this space of real stability for myself.
It does. It definitely feels like a new chapter, for sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good stuff. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Guided by Third Wheel, the podcast. We would be honored if you would like, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Until next time, be well.